somewhat musically inclined. Hello, and interestingly enough, hello, my wonderful friends, and welcome to another episode of Arlocast, another big milestone. This is episode 10. We have officially made it to the double digits. And let me say, in all seriousness, that we could not have made it this far without the integer 0. Today, we've got an extra special treat. We have two wonderful guests who are part of just one YouTube channel, which means I only had to write one introduction. Save me some time. They may do their best to stop skeletons from fighting, but skeletons, in turn, could not stop them from being on this show. Please welcome Derek and Grace. Hello!
Hey, I'm Derek.
Hello, I'm Grace. It's me.
That's you. Derek, you are the third Derek to be on this show in only 10 episodes.
Oh, wow.
But the first Derek in the double-digit figures, so...
That's true. It's a whole new world.
Do those other Dereks even count? I mean...
No.
You know what? I know we're all about saving space on the intro, but you gotta get all three Dereks together in one podcast.
Yeah.
It's going to be like that Power Rangers where they got all the Red Rangers together.
Yes.
Forever Derek.
All Derek's Red Rangers. I like this. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Wait, so so you had Derek, Boundary Break, she says, I'm guessing, right?
Uh-huh.
Who was the other Derek then?
Derek Bittner from Good Vibes Gaming.
Ah, okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how does that Derek spell it, though?
I want to say his is Derrick.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Totally different.
Doesn't count. We actually talked about this very briefly on our podcast.
Are you casting him out from the round table of
Well,
Dereks?
it's in my experience.
It's a contentious issue.
Whenever you meet a Derek, they always ask, if a Derek meets another Derek, they probably ask, well, how'd you spell it?
Yeah. I got 3 R's, a couple H's in there.
Like a Y, but it's a silent Y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek with the Y. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guitarist from Sum 41 who is probably a nice guy and has made some good music. Hate him. Can't spell you Derek with a Y? Nah. Come on, dude.
Get out of here.
Sure he's a fine. I'm sure he pays his taxes. I'm sure he uses his turn signal and washes his hands and is a friendly guy. Hate him. Can't. Nope. Sorry. With a Y? Nah, man.
No,
I will, if he's gonna move, I will rent a truck and help him move.
I, on the other hand, am
no.
sometimes okay with a Y. I'm sometimes Y.
Sometimes Y.
No, I'm A-E-I-O-U, period.
Y does not exist. It's not in your... I mean, well, our listeners have probably never noticed this before, but you've actually never used the letter Y in any word in any of your videos. Little known fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever said the word, yeah.
Yeah, how does it feel? Does that, that part of your throat, the yeah part, is it, just feel weird to use?
I just feel like I've ascended now. I finally have accepted all the letters of the alphabet.
We all get there eventually.
I've gotten this far so far, but now I've gotten all of my power gems. I can do my Thanos snap and bring weird video game stuff to everyone, because that's honestly what I do. I'm not about Thanos.
If we did a
and killing
Thanos
people.
snap, we'd lose half the letters of the alphabet.
You know what I would do is everybody would...
That's like a step backwards.
Half the people of the world would get an N-gauge or something like that.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
What if he snapped his fingers and half of every person's body disappeared?
That'd be even more horrifying.
He just did it wrong.
I mean, would it cauterize the wounds, or would
I don't know. I don't want to
go
too. I didn't mean for this to be a gruesome thing. I was trying to turn it into a silly thing.
Because also, yeah, we're Stop Skeletons of Fighting. I like horror stuff, so if you want to talk about gruesome horror stuff, yeah, let's do it. But I apologize.
Speaking of Stop Skeletons from Fighting, let's go to our first segment of the show. Let's talk about our guests. That's a new segment. I wanted to give it its own because, I need to talk more about the guests that are on the show. So let's do it. We have met before. We've met in person. We have hung out, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I got
We've stared longingly into each other's eyes while we've eaten sushi.
Yes, we were at that Japanese restaurant that seemed really fancy, but me and my friend were very disappointed in the food. I don't. It just,
Really?
I was. It seemed like such a nice, authentic restaurant. Maybe I don't know.
You know what? In retrospect, for me, the most memorable thing about that restaurant was the existence of a bidet in the bathroom.
I knew you were going to say that because Brian has not stopped talking about it since then. He was in love with it.
Have you looked into perhaps getting a bidet? Like, I know for a second there during COVID, toilet paper was at a premium.
I have considered it. I know you can get a little attachment for your toilet.
Yeah, that's what we ended up doing that when because it happened to turn out that we actually did need toilet paper when all of that happened, and so it wasn't like a hoarding situation. It was actually like, oh, let's go to like the bathroom in our building and take toilet paper from there until hopefully we can get some toilet paper, and then we went to Home Depot, Lowe's, one of those two. And we found the bidet section, and it was the last one.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And it's not, when we say bidet, I think probably because the word is like probably French in origin, it sounds really fancy, but no.
It's true. I think the word makes it sound fancier than it. Like when I hear bidet, I think there's like a room and there's like a golden podium and there's like this, like a fancy fountain with like fish like squirting out water. And
it sounds like it comes with a manservant. You know, when just the word.
Holding the towel, asking if you need a spritz.
Yeah, with like a mint on the towel too, like just. But no, it's not quite like that.
In our modern day, bidet sounds like an app that is absolutely recording everything and sending it to, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like also like doubly scary, but don't be scared. I recommend it. Yeah. Honestly.
I know I need to get one.
Mm-hmm.
And
our friends got way fancier ones. And that's what our show's about, apparently.
we have reached the allotted time that I dedicated to bidet talk. So
that's all you need to know about our YouTube
also
channel.
Doom ports. Oh god, what else do we do?
Which it was Portland Retro Gaming Expo is where we met, right? It wasn't PAX. It was that one, right?
No, it was Portland Retro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that was a good time. We had a good time at that one.
Yeah.
Were you with us when we went to the Cthulhu bar?
We had our own separate incidents at the Cthulhu bar.
Yeah, I've been there.
It was pretty cool.
Well, hold on. Yeah. Okay, I want to hear your story, and then we'll tell you our story. So, what was your experience at the Cthulhu bar?
Oh, we just kind of like went, and we're like, trying to text other people that we knew were around, be like, hey, we're at the Cthulhu bar, and we just kind of went and hung out and then left. Wasn't really a story.
Oh. Wait, we went to a Lovecraft bar. Is that the same as the Cthulhu bar?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, are the different
Unless
bars?
there's multiple.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I should have said Lovecraft. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, we're talking Portland here. It's an eccentric city, so I'm not... there could be two separate bars. But
I should have called it the Lovecraft bar.
In our experience, this is a while ago, so I had kind of taken a break from YouTube in the mid-aughts, and then towards the later aughts, I guess, around 2016, I kind of was getting back into things. My first time at Portland Retro, I'm seeing some friends that I hadn't seen in a while, and we're like, hey, man, well, let's get out of this convention situation. Let's go to a bar and hang out. And Grace is like, yeah, there's a Lovecraft bar 3 blocks down or something like that. And we're like, cool. And we walk in there, and the place is like, my recollection is that it's like purple, dark purple lighting everywhere, and everything's painted black. And there's not a lot of tables and chairs. And in the corner is this guy on his knees with a microphone and a bunch of distortion pedals, just kind of like rambling and screaming into the microphone. And people kind of like standing around watching him. And there's like one table, so we all sit at the table. And we just drink this ambience in. And we all go, let's leave. And we did.
I think we stumbled into the middle of Gothic Poetry Night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, I am so thrilled. And any other night, I would have been excited to go to Gothic Poetry Night.
But I wanted to get some beers, and I wanted to hang out with my friends.
We literally went across the street and went to a bar called, like, Dad's or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, we're all 30, right? Okay, yeah, okay. This checks out.
Yeah, no, there was no I'm kind of sad I missed out. There were no performances that night. We really did just, I don't even know if maybe 1 or 2 people got drinks. We kind of just went and sat there and were seeing if anyone else would show up, and then they didn't, and then we left. We might have gone to like Applebee's after that or something, or like Red Robin.
Yeah.
We probably went to Red Robin.
I've been talking to some friends because, like, you know, some peers. People have asked, like, hey, you going to go to conventions this year? And I'm kind of like, nah, I'm going to wait 2021 out personally. But I was thinking, like, man, I would love to go to conventions because it is a lot of fun hanging out with fans, seeing people and being in that crowd. But I will say that, like, a close second is always not even like the wild parties, because I guess we're all getting older now, but like just going back to somebody's hotel room and we all just like talk shop about this very weird job we all have.
Oh yeah, that's so much of it. Just talking to other human beings in person. That, well, sorry, I'm a monster, but other human beings, you know what I mean. But
we accept you. It's like,
thank you.
You're a welcome part.
People who know what you go through, because it is such a weird job, and nobody who's physically around you can really quite get it.
And maybe this is just me, but I also feel like all us YouTubers, like, we're kind of crazy a little bit. We're all a little weird and broken, you know?
Yeah, we're weirdos, absolutely.
So definitely talking to them, you're like, oh, you're a weirdo too. Not only do you do this job also, but it's like, yeah, it's, you know, you have to be built a certain way to do this. And I don't mean that in like a, you know, a big buff dude flexing going, I'm built different. No, I mean like you just, to be a YouTuber, you really have to just work really hard and then watch a project bomb and go, all right, well, I guess I'll try that again. And then do that until you get one that works. Like, oh, cool, I got a hit. And then I got to make another hit and then it bombs. And, you know, it's like you have to just want to stick with it, you know, rain or shine. Whereas most people, I think, would logically go like, that wasn't worth the effort, the energy put in, right. And the
they're probably right.
Exactly, and it's equal parts like, you know, skill, luck, and stupidity. I feel like it's just speaking for myself, just speaking for myself here.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
But like I do feel like, you know, when it's like, yeah, you're not built for being a YouTuber. It's like that's probably a compliment.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's just a special kind of weird. It's not like a better or anything.
Yeah,
no, it is a very weird job.
And not being a YouTuber also likely comes with a 401k. So
yeah, that whole thing. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
benefits, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, I feel like maybe we could talk about like lighter topics.
Yes, you know what? It's true. Get into the deep stuff. No, so describe for any listeners who do not know briefly, what is it that you do on your channel? In 5 words or less. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Let's see. Well, okay. Oh, that was 5.
That's all you get.
Basically, I don't know. I love video games, even the bad ones.
Are you sure it's not especially? Yeah.
Sometimes, especially the bad ones. This is kind of a philosophy that I've had to kind of work on because I've actually been doing this. We're sitting here in the early August recording this. Late August will actually be my 14th year doing YouTube. And something I've kind of built. It took me a long time to put it into words, really, but like I kind of don't care about whether a game is good or bad. To me, it's like, is it interesting or not? Because I've found that not just games, but like any kind of media or some things that are like aggressively bad can sometimes still be very interesting. And to me, at a certain point, the difference between like that and something that is like, you know, maybe more agreed upon good, they're about the same to me personally. And so I just honestly, I kind of came up during the the start of the angry video game nerd stuff and a lot of that negativity. And I've just never really been about that. I've definitely been grumpy. I've had some grump moments. One of my first big hit videos I ever did was talking about how much I did not like ukulele. Arlo, I believe you did in fact like ukulele. I did not, but that's neither here nor there.
I was mixed. I liked parts of it, but it was really rough around the edges.
Yeah.
My recollection, and this is just, again, my perspective, when I put that video out, I was the only one going like, nah, this game sucks, right? And everybody else was like talking about how it's great, you know, and I'm like, oh, well, did we even play the same game? I don't know. But I don't traffic in those waters.
Yeah.
Right. I think if I can sum it up for the people at home, our channel is all about like the weird, ambitious, unnecessary, in video games. So be it someone trying to make a cell phone that plays video games, but, you know, you have to turn the system off to actually switch a game out. Or
the ridiculous
actually, you
number...
have to take out the SIM card to switch a game out.
Yeah.
Or
the ridiculous number of Doom ports.
Yeah.
Ports,
or being able to play, like, video games with a fishing rod, like that kind of stuff. That is what we do.
Just really finding newer, interesting stuff, and it's, you know, probably I should be chasing trends better, but whenever I tried to chase trends, it just never worked for me. You know, because we had those moments where you're like, man.
I think by chasing trends, you mean doing the news,
like
which
topical stuff.
That's bad because Arlo's very good at that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're like, hats off to you because we've tried that grind and it's quite the grind.
I'm not. You know what? I'm not built for it.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody. We've talked about this on the podcast before. How it's just surprising how you don't know what's going to work for you. Different people with different audiences and different angles, they'll just find themselves kind of drifting one way or the other. It just kind of works that way. News worked for me, and it didn't work for you. You find your thing, and you kind of just go with it.
Yeah.
That's really like the kind of secret to YouTube is if you want to grow an audience, just like you really just try a bunch of things, and when something really sticks, like you should pay attention to your audience, you know, the good and the bad comments, because some bad comments are not helpful, some good comments are not helpful. So look for the honesty, and then, you know, when something works, don't be afraid to be like, okay, well then this is, you know, we started doing a show a couple of years ago called Punching Weight, and where we that philosophy of weird, unnecessary, and ambitious kind of came from. And when that show started to really take off, I was like, okay, well, then I guess that's kind of like what this channel is going to be mainly about, because people seem to really like it, and we like doing it.
Yeah. But you came up doing reviews.
Yeah, well, that was also like reviews for the longest time. That was, you could do that. I do pine for those days a little bit.
I still do reviews.
Oh, yeah. You do like, again, new reviews, modern reviews, like new stuff. You can't just pull a random Super Nintendo game and talk about Lagoon for the Super Nintendo for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
And expect to get more than like 5,000, you know, a couple hundred views on it. Again, you were able to do that. You were able to do modern stuff, or your big fat review of Zelda Breath of the Wild, you know.
Which actually, that review was responsible for getting Derek to play Breath of the Wild for
Really?
the first time ever. Yeah.
No. It was that. No, actually,
wasn't it?
No, it was something else. I actually had been playing Breath of the Wild for a super long time. I finally gotten around to doing it, and then Arlo put that video up, and I was like, cool, well, I got some more stuff to do. I began, and I got the DLC now. And actually, I put on that video, and over the course of a couple of days, listening to it, in the process of listening to that video and playing the game, is actually when I was like, I think I'm done.
Oh.
So it's the opposite.
The opposite of what I said.
Yeah.
I made you hate the game.
No, it wasn't that I hated it. It was just that because man, the great thing about that game is literally just like, you know, find an area of the map you haven't explored and just walk around and look for stuff, and it's super fun. But I'd kind of done that, and I guess I reach a point with games where I just decide I'm done. Usually, I just kind of hit a point where I wake up in the morning and I'm like, nope, can't do it. I'm just like that.
That's fine. Yeah, that's good. You reach that point, even if you haven't completed it or anything, you know? Like, you never have to force yourself to play a game if it stops being fun.
I think it was, we had bought the DLC. Grace had played it many years before. Actually, I was playing on the Wii U, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And Grace had bought the DLC.
Yeah, of course.
And basically, like, once you began and you get the opportunity to unlock the DLC, basically it's like, hey, each, you know, I think like four or 8 points of the compass, it's like, here's another temple that's going to raise up, and it's like in this general vicinity is going to be 5 or 10 more temples around that. So it's like, oh, I gotta look around those sections again, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, at that point I'd done a whole lot, gotten a bunch of Korok seeds. I really had done a little bit of everything, and beat Ganon, and he did some extra stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's good.
I loved it, though.
Nothing wrong with that.
I absolutely enjoyed the game, and I also say that, like, that Wii U version You can play it solely on the Wii U gamepad, and I will die on the hill of the Wii U gamepad is awesome. I love those big chunky buttons. Playing Breath of the Wild on a Switch is it's fine. But I love those big chunky Wii U buttons.
It's comfortable to hold, I'll give it that, because it's thicker, you know? It's nicer for the hands.
It's got a good heft.
Yeah, I like it.
The screen's not. I mean, the screen on a Switch is definitely way better, and you know that version's got some slowdown for sure. But like, I think that's kind of the funny thing about the Switch is that it is so much the Wii U Part 2, even down to like, Mario Kart is like the best-selling game by an incredible. I guess until Animal Crossing came out, but like the best, some of the best-selling games on the Switch are Wii U games. Like Breath of the Wild is the way it is partly because it was meant to be a Wii U game. Mm-hmm. Which is why like Breath of the Wild 2, it's like, okay, cool, just make that game again, but build it for the Switch, please. Why is it taking you 5 years? 2022 is going to be 5 years. Like, come on.
I do not know why it's taking them so long. I really don't understand it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of weird controllers, as we've said, you really, I mean, like anyone who hasn't seen your channel, like really got to go check it out. Yeah, like fishing rods. Like, give me like, what's your favorite just weird controlled game that you've done on your channel that you've covered?
Honestly, I got to give a big shout out to my brother, Matt McMuscles. He kind of set this whole thing off several years ago. He gifted me the N64 mouse. And the thing I love about that is the way that it was programmed to use on the system. There's only like one game that officially uses the mouse.
Well, yeah, maybe you should explain where the mouse comes from.
Yeah, what even?
So Mario Artist, which was basically like a multi-part sequel to Mario Paint, but it was only released on the DD, the 64 DD, which is the disk drive system that came out really late for the 64, and it only came out in Japan, and it bombed because it was just like they couldn't quite get the technology right and stuff. So it's a very obscure little device, and it's basically just to give you a little more nuance when you're painting and drawing and stuff. Because actually, the Mario Artist games, multiple games. They're very deep. There's a lot that you can do if you want. You can make all kinds of cartoons and stuff. It's early, like basically Mii's for the Wii. Like that concept like started on the 64DD on Mario Artist, and it came packaged with a mouse. But because all the mouse did in that game, there's no kind of fancy tech there. Like usually a mouse for PlayStation or Super Nintendo, you have to like program that in. You can't just plug in a mouse into games and just it works every game. Though it is fun to do that. And on that idea, that is why I love the N64 mouse, is because it just mimics a controller. It is just the analog stick and the A and B buttons, which means that it actually works for no games, but it actually works for every game. And it just kind of like, it was just like hey, make your own fun. And that's what I love about peripherals, is like, it's just a dumb, fun, low stakes way to play a game. And the fact that this mouse was programmed or not programmed the way it was, you can just go, all of a sudden your entire N64 collection is like this brand new fertile soil waiting to be broken. And so that was kind of what really started that obsession for me. And people on the channel seem to like it. So that's also like, cool. All right, I want to do a thing. People seem to like it. So I'm moving forward.
Yeah. What have you played with the mouse? What's the most ridiculous game you've played with the mouse?
Can I jump in?
You can.
So my favorite thing we've ever done with the mouse was we were somehow, another fan donated a second mouse to us, so we were able to go into Banjo-Tooie and play the like deathmatch mode. I don't even know I don't remember what it's officially called.
But it's basically this first-person shooter, like, on the GoldenEye Perfect Dark engine, I'm guessing. And yeah, the way that like those games work, usually you have to push the Z button to shoot your gun. Small problem, there is no Z button on a N64 mouse. But in Banjo-Kazooie, you can like do a bird beak stab attack with like either like A or B or something like that. And then you can put it on like, one hit kills mode. And
Well, so it basically becomes like this very extremely tense, like samurai battle. Like, sort of, if people are familiar with Bushido Blade, it's kind of like that, where it's just like one wrong move and you're dead, and so you're just running around like trying to stab people with with Kazooie or whatever, and just like running around, and it's just like so fun and so tense.
And there's a couple levels, like I think there's one level based off of like the library or the stack on GoldenEye, and another level that's based off of the complex. So you're also like, you can have these weird Bushido Blade samurai gun style deathmatch duels in weird bizarro GoldenEye maps.
That is awesome. With N64 mouse. That's great.
And the thing about the mouse, you can't do much, but the fidelity, the extra nuance that you get with the mouse ball is kind of incredible. And then also, maybe my second favorite thing was with a combination of the Dreamcast mouse and the Dreamcast VMU and the Dreamcast port of Silent Scope. You can play that game looking at just the VMU screen, turned away from the TV, because on the VMU it has your crosshairs for like what your sniper rifle looks like, and you control the sniper rifle with your mouse. So it's not a good way to play. It's not an easy way to play, but you can in fact play that game 100% without a TV.
Wow, that is awesome.
And it's like, you know what? Video games are so dumb, and you could play Mr. Driller on the Dreamcast with the microphone if you want.
Just go nuts. It's really, you just gotta plug it in and try it, and you'd be shocked at how many things work, like where the streams cross. Unfortunately, with like current generation, that sort of stuff isn't around anymore as much. Like, you can't just pick up like the Xbox Series X like DVD remote, which they make DVD remotes for these Xboxes, but you usually can't just like go straight into a game like you could on the PlayStation 3, I guess.
Yeah.
Or
PS2 and 3.
Yeah.
Apparently, like I can confirm the PS2 DVD remote has like a nearly full set of controller buttons, and you can just like go into games. And again, it's not good, but you can play lots of PS2 games with a PS2 DVD remote. And I think for most people, and I guess this is where I'm built different, people will see that and go, yeah, that's dumb. Why would you do that? And I'm like, yeah, that's dumb. Let's do that. That just, to me, it's not I'm not going to spend my whole weekend trying to play through Tekken 5 on a DVD remote, but that you can do that is fun. Life's short. I'm having fun.
Because it's there.
Yeah, and I guess that's really what it is. It's like, man, there's so many people that get really grumpy and angry on the internet, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Stuff's fun. I'm just out here having fun. I don't know.
It's silly fun. No, that's perfect. And it's a great angle for a YouTube channel. It's a very niche concept. It's great.
Yeah, it's not how you get you don't get that PewDiePie money.
Probably not.
But, you know, we've been doing this for a couple of years, and it's been paying the rent. So
yeah,
that's it's
my dogs eat well.
Yes,
that's good.
That's good. So I was thinking, go ahead with the dogs.
Oh, I was gonna say they need their little they need their little sensitive tummy kibble, and so we can buy, you know, we're still getting like Purina, but we're getting like Purina Pro. So that's
the good stuff. They deserve the good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they also need to have good tummies so they can drop their business outside and not in the carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's preferable.
Actually, I think our newest dog.
They don't make bidets for dogs.
They should. Actually, that would definitely scare the out of them. Well, I mean, doggy bidet is like we just give them a bath. And
I guess like the kitchen sink, just get pull it out and just
And you're the servant.
Faucet. Yes. Exactly. Except instead of a mint, I have a piece of chicken, just as a little.
Yeah. So I couldn't help but think when you mentioned that you can use two N64 mouses and you can use it for like analog. I remember how in Perfect Dark you can use two controllers so that you can have like two stick controls. Does that mean you could use one controller and one mouse to make it like you're playing a PC game, basically?
Absolutely. I mean, again, it's not built for it. You have to kind of do some switching and finagling and kind of do some customization, but absolutely you can. Absolutely. 200% you can.
I want to see that. I definitely do. And you've had a really good little series of videos on the Nokia N-Gage.
Mm-hmm.
That is an interest, and I bring that up just because I haven't seen them yet. Every podcast with every person ever, I go, I've been meaning to watch your stuff, and I just don't because I don't have time to watch YouTube. But I would if I did.
Oh yeah.
I do plan on watching the Nokia N-Gage ones though. It's super cool. Mostly just because I have a clear memory of being, I don't know, teenager or whatever, and I guess this was before the DS came out. See it right? What year did the N-Gage come out?
03.
Yeah. So I remember like having my GBA and looking at that N-Gage and seeing like screenshots of like the real 3D graphics and being like scared. You know, and back then I'm a teenager. The console wars are important to me, even though they're not really important. Like, you know, I was like, it really mattered to me. And I was scared of the N-Gage because of those 3D. Oh my gosh, I don't have those kinds of 3D graphics on my GBA. What's going to happen to Nintendo? They're going to, and then apparently I did not have anything to be worried about.
Yeah, that's basically what the problem with the N-Gage was. Nokia was such a huge company at the time. They were like the leader in cell phones. Something like one third of all the world's cell phones were basically Nokia cell phones. They literally...
Yeah, I had a Nokia. This was before smartphones. It was all Nokia.
They have some of the best-selling devices in consumer electronics, not just in cell phones. Like they sold billions of cell phones. They were not ready for the cutthroat, deep world of video games. I thought they could just kind of... They didn't take it as serious as they should have. And basically, their timing was not ready, and just... They set off to be the Game Boy Advance killer. Mm-hmm. But by the time they actually came out, like the PSP had been announced, and then Nintendo announced the DS. They came out right before the PSP and DS. And so if there was ever any hype for the N-Gage, it was probably literally for that fall holiday 2003, and then they were just done. It was... And
not only that, they also, their price was above what the DS and the PSPs, like, because they had announced the prices, and I think it was like $100 or $150 more than what those consoles were going to cost. Well, I think it was $3.
It was $299.
Yeah.
And then literally within 2 weeks of launching, they slashed it by $100.
Yeah.
And at the time, and also the GBA SP had come out earlier that year. Which I will say one thing about the N-Gage. It's got a big, bright screen. And that original GBA, though we all love that GBA, that screen sucked.
Oh, it's horrible. So dark.
I mean, I don't know about you, but back in the day, I bought an SP solely for that backlit screen and never looked back. I wish I hadn't given my original long form, classic GBA to my high school girlfriend, because then you can mod them now. I would have liked to have had that to mod it.
Yeah, you're never going to see that again.
Nah, no.
Oh, man. I think really the N-Gage, it feels like they pulled a Sega. How like twice in a row, Sega kind of like, they were trying to get on the cutting edge, but they really ended up just releasing an inferior piece of hardware like a year before all the other big consoles came out, and kind of like, like it feels like that's the Jaguar and the Dreamcast felt like that to me, where it's just kind of like, let's be the first ones out of the gate. And it's like, okay, well now a year later, everyone else has consoles and yours is not as good.
What, you mean the Saturn and the Dreamcast?
Yeah, what did I say? Not the Jaguar. I'm thinking of all my old commercials on my Simpson tapes that I used to watch, and all of the commercials get mixed up.
64 bits. Do the math.
Yeah, Saturn and the Jaguar. Saturn and the Dreamcast.
Yes, in a very similar way. I mean, actually, I would almost say that you are giving N-Gage too much credit.
Oh, yeah?
Like, yes, Sega also, like, just the timing, they had the right product at the wrong time. Because the Dreamcast, and even the Saturn, had, like, online and had just some real...
And also too many products at the wrong time.
That is also true, yeah.
Yeah.
But though, as a channel that loves peripherals, we do appreciate the amount of Sega peripherals that are out there.
Yeah, it's true. At least they were doing the work. They were experimenting. They were putting out a lot of good games. I definitely they were good systems. The timing was poor. Yeah, it does seem like the N-Gage was just kind of bad all around, or just mismanaged
it was,
pretty much in every way.
Yeah, because also, just when you talk about the cost of the phone itself, which was $300, which was kind of insane at the time for a portable gaming device.
Yeah.
It wasn't too badly priced for a phone, but if you're marketing primarily to gamers, then on top of that, you'd have to have a service plan with it.
Yep.
And then on top of that, you were paying like,
like 10
$40.
Bucks. No, it's like $10 a month.
Well, the service plan was like $10 to $20 a month. And then
yeah.
on top of that, you needed to buy the games, which were like $45, $60. Because a lot of the games...
30 to 40.
Well, yeah, a lot of the games themselves were ports of Game Boy Advance games or PlayStation 1 games.
Like, really, the best game for the longest time on N-Gage was a shockingly solid port of Tony Hawk 1.
Probably the best portable port of Tony Hawk 1.
Well, yeah, because honestly, Tony Hawk 1 didn't get a whole lot of ports.
That's true.
So, yes, technically, yeah. But also, like, by the time Tony Hawk 1 came out, I think Thug was 03 or Thug or Thug 2. By the time the N-Gage dropped, like, better Tony Hawk games had been released. The great thing about the N-Gage is that it was made by Nokia, which meant that it was never actually successful, ever. Even the launch, when they announced it, like the E3 presentation was also a disaster. But despite that, because Nokia had the insanely deep pockets and didn't really set them back that much, the N-Gage existed for like years and years. And we make this comparison that like, 32X and Virtual Boy, they came out and flopped, and they were like, all right, shut it down. It's done. It's over. Same thing happens with Nokia, and they're like, okay, well, you got 2 years to figure it out, buddy. Like, they're like, well, our goal is to sell 6 to 9 million in 2 years. They moved, like, literally a few thousand in the first, like, couple months. Wow. And then what eventually, I think they ended up selling something around, like, 2 or 3 million worldwide by the time it shut down.
Wow.
But they wanted at least 6 to 9, right? And
that was probably heavily discounted and bundled.
And
yep.
Honestly, most of it was overseas, and India ended up being a big market for the N-Gage, like kind of at the tail end of everything.
Asia Pacific region, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't in like North America or Japan or anywhere else, unfortunately.
And it's a fascinating story. We did a long history of it, and the history of the N-Gage is so shockingly long. There is sort of like the back end of so it ended up being the longest scripted video we ever made, 30 plus minutes.
So far.
Wow.
And the back end of it, like the closing, I don't know, 5 or so minutes, the closing like 2 pages of the script, which I know doesn't mean anything to you, but we ended up having to cut that down so much because honestly, like the post N-Gage, physical N-Gage system, because they brought it back as an app, as N-Gage 2.0 was basically like, an app store before the app store, but also not as good as the app store when the app store came out. That whole section also probably could have been its own video because that was just so deep and long, but like we just like, I bet you understand the same thing. Like you can only talk about so much in a video before it's like, okay, how much time do I have this month to make this video? Mm-hmm. Here's my philosophy. I'm gonna get real deep on you. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get real.
Yeah, do it.
It's a tough world out there. There's a lot of injustice. It's rough out there. I do not have the answers for how to get through that and what you should do. But what I can do is I can make a video talking about some dumb video game thing and give you 10, 15, 20 minutes to breathe, to get away from all that. Because the problems with your life in this world, they are still going to be there. But my role as a big dumb idiot is to just pull you aside, say, look at this N64 mouse. To give you a chance, pull you out of the trench, pull you out of the water, and give you just like a few minutes to relax, and then you can get back. And you'll be better prepared to take care of yourself and take care of your loved ones and be ready for this tough world we live in. And talking about
that's my goal
exactly.
as well. It's all we can do. That's the best thing we can do for people.
And I do feel that is that's a necessary thing. I
just have a good time.
I feel like I'm doing some kind of good, as a YouTuber in this world. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's also an argument that maybe I'm wasting my time and everyone's time.
I do think that when I look at my like watch time and it gives me in minutes and I calculate like how many just human years have been spent watching my channel, I'm like, oh no, I've done a terrible thing. I've committed a crime against humanity. But no. But it's good. It's the best we can do. It's just have a little fun little time. Just talking about video games. Just talking about dumb stuff. Fun. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I want to do. I want to have fun and also pet my dog who's in my lap right now.
Oh, that's adorable. Now, unfortunately, I have limited recording time, so we will have to pick things up a little bit. Tiny little bit here. I know everyone hates it when I say that because they're like, I want this to be 3 hours long. It cannot. I'm sorry. Wow. Wow. That's great. But now it's time for a word from our sponsor. This episode of Arlocast is brought to you by no one. No one has sponsored this episode. I also do not have a joke. Also, I am sitting in the middle of a dark room. I can't see anything. And it is also completely quiet. This sponsor segment is nothing. And now back to Derek and Grace. Before we move on to the next segment, though, I would like to talk about another project that you do that is not video game related. Oh. It is Starship Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
This guy does music. You've done some music.
I used to. Yeah, I used to. I've been kind of still kicking around. I want to get back into it. Mm-hmm. Basically, what it is way back in 2007 when I got this YouTube thing started, it all kind of happened on a whim. It kind of happened by, I guess, accident or something like that. I thought I was going to be a musician. I always wanted to be an entertainer. I always wanted to be creative and do stuff. And I thought, honestly, I was going to be, it was going to be music. And for a while, the music was like we made a couple bucks off those, putting albums out digitally, and we have our music on Spotify, and we still cash not huge checks. I still get money from Starship Amazing.
Oh.
But it was one of those projects that I'm really proud of, but it just it ran its course. But that people still remember it, man. It's still. I sometimes get like, oh my god, you were the happy video game nerd, and yes, that when I started off doing YouTube videos, I was happy video game nerd, and that's always fun because those videos are still on the channel, and so people are like, what? I didn't know. It's like, I'm not trying to keep that secret from you. It's like, you just go on our YouTube channel and just go back a couple of years and you'll see, from 2007 to 2013, that was Happy Video Game Nerd. What's weird though, is I've had a handful of people go like, wait, I know you from Starship. You're from Starship Amazing? They somehow found like our music outside of, the videos and stuff, which is wild. And really what it is like, I guess where people get too excited. We were an electronic group. We did kind of very video game inspired kind of a dance music, and so you don't hear me singing. Don't worry about that. And actually, I grew up playing guitar. Thought I was going to be some kind of guitarist, some kind of in a band, and then I guess I was just better at writing music than really performing it. And then, making it on a computer where you don't need to like kind of perform it in the same way, just worked better for me and my music.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's and it just worked better. Like actually, my cohort and I, we met up because we both play guitar and we were like recording guitar stuff. And then, just one day I was like, let's just make a fun, dumb techno song. And that just really like, it just kind of clicked. And so I did, I wrote the melodies, Maya wrote the beats, even though of course there's a lot more in between there. But that was kind of how we broke it down. And yeah, so a lot of that music's all out there.
Yeah. And Maya still makes music at hellstar.plus if you want to check that out.
A lot of the original music that we use on our show is Maya, is my old musical cohort. So there actually is a little bit of Starship Amazing in every Stop Skeletons video.
That's great. Yeah, I actually, anybody listening to this, I've only listened to one of your albums. I've only listened to Ruby Dagger. but it is incredibly good. It's, I mean, you know, I'm not even being like the polite host, you know, saying, "Oh no, I love this thing." No, like it's legitimately in my rotation of songs.
Oh,
like it's a
thank you.
super good album.
That's probably that. I feel like that was the album that we never quite recovered from, to be honest, because we kind of broke up in 24. I moved in January 2015, and basically we put out our last EP in January 2015, and like shortly before that we agreed like, yeah, we're gonna be, you know, this is done after this, and so we released that album in 2013, and I honestly I do look back and I'm really happy we have like a really kind of a decent body of work. We have some older stuff I've been meaning to kind of put back up there, but there's still people that have YouTube videos of like our early stuff. I do think Ruby Dagger, though, is probably the single best thing we did.
It's super good.
Thank you. Yeah. It was a lot of work, and so if you do listen to the other stuff, though, it's not gonna be quite as good.
That's all right. I have been meaning to poke through your Bandcamp and stuff and check it out. No, it's really good. You know, I think one of the best things about it is you got the good hook. That first part of the first track. It's such a good hook. It really brings you in for the rest of the album. It's such a good start.
Oh, thank you.
Hey everybody, Producer Chris here, introducing just a little section of Funky Boy in Robo World by Starship Amazing. This hook is killer.
Yeah, we always kind of looked at projects like that, like we had like one song where like, okay, this is definitely going to be the first track, or this is going to be kind of like the main, like this is the bar, and now all the songs have to be as good as this. And that was, I remember we spent a good year and a half making that album, but I feel like, yeah, the first album, Funky Boy in Robo World, which is an anime reference, is sometimes when you make music, man, you just like kind of plugging away, you're tinkering away, you're blooping away, and then you stop and you look back and you go like, how did I make that? That's really good. And that was one of those songs where just like, it just came out really easy and we were done. And I was just like, wow, this is really good.
Sometimes you just find it.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I'm not really a very spiritual man, but like, yeah, you do feel like, you know, man, the muse just hits you. And like, just sometimes the song just has to like, it just like a bull just pours out of you. It has to just runs out of you and you don't even know how you did it. You just kind of, you got your head, your nose at the grindstone, and you stand back and you're like, wait a minute, how did I make this awesome thing? It's very rewarding too.
That's good. Yeah, I really want to get into making electronic music and stuff, and I just haven't had time, but I want to. It is a goal. I bought a synthesizer.
Yeah.
I think last time I mentioned it, people were asking. I got a Prophet 08. I bought it off Craigslist.
Oh, wow.
And I haven't been able to play with it in months, and I'm sad.
Wait, so like you didn't get like a MIDI controller, you got like an actual synthesizer?
Yeah, got the big old thing.
Wow, because I just got some MIDI keyboards and some plugins, and you know, a copy of Ableton I gotta start paying for here pretty soon.
Yeah, that would be like the smartest option. Like if I'm just starting out, but then I saw that on Craigslist, and I'm like, no way. Okay, and then I just kind of did it. So yeah. And I don't know how to use it, but I've been playing with it.
Yeah, every time I sit down, like, I do have a little keyboard, kind of like a cheapy keyboard that I have out. I always kind of tinker away, and melodies just come very natural to me. It's I actually struggled a lot with reading. I'm dyslexic, and kind of taught myself to read throughout elementary school. I was always terrible in school. I just was like, either the classroom was like too fast or too slow for me. And I struggle with reading, but I've always had music. It's always just like made sense to me. It's just one of those things I feel like I was kind of born. It's weirdly enough, like I make a living here doing video, but I kind of feel like actually music is a thing that I have a more natural talent for. Maybe like my video making skills are more honed because I use them more often, but yeah, just melody and music and that type of stuff. I've never had any real training. I can't read music. I don't really know what scales and stuff are, but I understand that like, okay, don't play these keys because it doesn't fit, or only play these keys when you want to change it a certain way to kind of that you can go off. It's difficult for me to put into words. I don't know music theory jargon, but I've always felt that I hear different things, than certain people when I listen to music, and I don't know. All that Starship Amazing stuff was just like kind of improv, just sitting down, listening and plunking away until it sounded and felt good.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I don't have any training, but I feel like it's something I really could get into if I decided to take that course instead of, going the way I am now. I think I could be pretty good at it.
Yeah, dude, if you make something, you should send it to me, and we can like have a little pact where we like just send stuff to each other when we're still like trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm still at the very, very basics. Still need to learn how to use my synthesizer, but but I will. I will one of these days. Well, we really do gotta get this moving here. Let's move on to a segment called What's in the News. Not a whole lot to talk about. The first thing I like to mention, we did just get our Indie World presentation. Do you have any? Did you see that? Do you have any highlights from there?
Oh no, I didn't see it. What? Give me the rundown.
I don't know. A lot of the games were like. Well, I mean, there were some cool surprises like Axiom Verge 2, like just stealth dropped. Like it was like, it's available now, and Slime Rancher and stuff. My main thing, there's a game called Toem, and if you didn't see the presentation, definitely go look at Toem. It looked really good.
Toem, okay. Toem, Jam, and Earl.
Toem, Jam, and Earl, exactly. It's the sequel.
I did hear about Axiom Verge, but didn't realize it was a part of that presentation.
Yeah, they just were like, it's out now. So that's pretty cool.
I love it when that happens, when just like a Beyonce drop.
Yeah.
The only other news items I have right now is the Mario movie thing. How like who is it? The Sebastian Maniscalco kind of let slip that he's in the movie, and so now we kind of have an idea of a character in the movie, which can kind of give us an idea of like what it's going to be about. Sort of. Have you seen all this stuff?
I've heard. I've seen the Mario Brothers movie in the '90s. Naturally.
Wrong movie. No, yeah. I mean the new one. The one that the Minions guys are making.
So Sebastian Maniscalco, is he... So it says he's going to be Spike.
Is that one of the Koopa kids?
No, Spike. Okay, well there's a baddie called a Spike, but he says Spike, their boss. And so like I wouldn't even have known this if I hadn't seen other people talking about it. Wrecking Crew, NES game, and I guess the Mario was in it.
Wow. Well, was that technically Mario? It definitely looked like the Mario sprite. Was that canonically Mario?
I don't actually know anything about that game. I don't know where it fits in with Mario. I don't know if they just cameoed in it or something. I don't know. But Spike was the foreman. And so he says, Spike, their boss, which makes me think that's the character, which is like, oh, okay, are they living in a city? Are they a part of a construction crew or something? Is it going to tie in with Wrecking Crew? It's weird. Is it... Because also the idea that Mario... I mean, of course, Mario's always been not always been a plumber, but he... I mean, supposed to be a plumber. I guess I was thinking about Donkey Kong. He's not like... Is he a plumber in Donkey Kong? Well, that's Jumpman. That's not Mario. Oh, Grace. My God. Oh, my God. Embarrass me in front of Arlo, would you please? Well, he just started as Jumpman. The idea that Mario like pays taxes and like has a job and like, oh yeah, I need to pay into my social security and like oh no, like, Luigi, can you cover my shift on Friday? Yeah, like I have to go to the doctor. Like, you know what I mean? Like just like the idea that they're putting it into a more structured job situation is just hilarious. Or if they're gonna do the same thing like in the original Mario Brothers movie, where it's like they're on the job and then they fell into a wormhole and now they're not. Do not. I will be so mad. Weird. I would not like that. It'd be weird because it's like video game movies. They're always so dumb. They always try to fit in with the real world because they're not comfortable just having a different world. So if like Nintendo themselves were like, we're gonna do this right, and they did the same thing, I would not know. It just would be so bad. I think my theory is that it's going to be something of an origin story. I think it's going to set up the Mario thing and kind of tell us what Mario and Luigi were doing before, and then it's going to, but then Bowser kidnaps Peach. So maybe this will be like the first Mario story, When you say that, I just, like, a cold chill ran through my spine. Yeah. And now I'm like, oh god, they're trying to set up the, like, greater Nintendo-verse. Yeah. So we're... Oh, yeah. I mean, you could easily, like, end with, like, if we're going to do an origin story, maybe we're going to are we going to do Donkey Kong? Are we going to have Pauline? Like, what are we... Because it could... Yeah, I don't know. It could even be that. Well, okay. That would be terrible. I had a thought, though. So the Castlevania Netflix show
totally had like a whole origin story for Dracula and, the Belmonts and stuff like that, and made some creative liberties.
Sure.
But for the good of storytelling, I thought that the Castlevania series, I've seen the 2 or 3 seasons. I forget. It's been a while now. They made several more since I watched. But that they made a lot of changes were necessary because, hey, television, film, video games are all different mediums. So you have to approach storytelling and characters differently, just fundamentally. So if they are going to do an origin story for Mario, like, I don't know, you could do it right.
Okay, I have a hot take.
Give it to us.
The absolute last company I want to be in charge of anything storytelling related is Nintendo. Because they're great at making games.
Yeah.
But the story's always secondary, and it's fine. I guess it's there if you want it. But it's
even Breath
it's never that deep. Like, the dialogue is, whatever.
It's like actually, Arlo, you made a really good point about Breath of the Wild when they were like the Age of Calamity. You're like, oh man, because Breath of the Wild kind of has a good setting, and there's a good story there. But like in terms of like cutscene and character dialogue and like actual cinematic and story told to you in the game, there's like nothing. We just kind of find out that Link, oh no, Ganon comes out. Ganon appears, and then the next cutscene, Link is just wounded. And it's like, well, what happened? How did he get wounded? And you were like, man, so Age of Calamity, yeah, they can totally like fill in that backstory. And and you made a really good point in that video. And it's like, it's like they couldn't help but actually have a decent story behind Breath of the Wild, but then the Nintendo mechanism didn't allow them to actually tell that story well.
I feel like the reason that I do mostly enjoy the story in Breath of the Wild, but I feel like, if I'm being honest with myself, the reason I enjoy it is because I'm filling in the gaps myself.
Yeah.
And it's less about what's on the page and more of like what my imagination is.
I mean, that was like when they made New Super Mario Brothers, and it's like, oh great, a new Super Mario Brothers game, and at the time that was like a bold, fun new idea. But it was like, oh, but the plot is just like, all right, Bowser kidnapped Princess again.
Yeah.
So that's still all you got? All right. I mean, game's fun, and everybody was very happy to play more Mario because, man, those new Super Mario Brothers games, they sold pretty well. But I recall being like, okay, new one, but old story.
What's your take on that, Arlo? Do you think I'm full of...
No, I think a lot of people disagree with my my thoughts on the story in the game. Maybe it's purposefully minimal. They want you to kind of fill in the gaps. I just kind of feel like I get that angle. It's just kind of like, I guess I felt they took it too far because they did so much telling and not showing, and that's just a bad storytelling thing. Like, you can't be like, these champions are so cool, they're so awesome, man, they sure were amazing, and like, you just literally never get to see it. I don't know, it was just too far.
That's a good point. I guess I've kind of discarded that part of the story, and I was thinking more about the Zelda and Link character development relationship. But yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about the champions because they're such a nothing part of the story in a lot of ways.
I think that they are cool. And like, so yeah, I think to Arlo's point, like, they're like, May's champions are awesome and they all got different personalities, but they still get together and they still make it work. And I was like, yeah, I believe that. And cool. Can we see more of that though?
Yeah. We don't see them interacting.
Yeah,
I want to see the big gruff Goron guy hanging out with like the jerk bird guy. I'm so sorry, I forget the names. It's been a really long time since but like, I would love to see those characters bounce off each other.
Yeah.
I would love to see kind of like how stuff went down when, all the stuff turned around and, the Age of Calamity started. They had a really good story reason as to why the world is so barren and it's just empty. And though that kind of is a point of contention gameplay-wise, I feel like for some people, I think it is kind of interesting. They did find a really good plot reason for the game to be so just kind of Spartan, but still massive and dense, but there's not a whole lot really... there's not as much people and towns and stuff as I would have liked. But yeah, it's like, it's a good concept, but like not a well-told story. It's I enjoyed what they did, but I wish they did more, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's difficult to kind of put correctly. And so, yeah. But then again, we're talking about Mario versus Zelda. Like, Zelda is a fantasy setting, naturally needs to have more lore and character. If we're talking a Mario movie, what does it got to cover, really?
Who even know? Nobody knows. It's a big mystery because
It can be. It could be a super low stakes situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna just be a basic Bowser kidnaps Peach story. We know that. But it's like, yeah, how many other characters can you possibly bring in? Are the Mario brothers? Is Mario talking a bunch? Who knows? We just don't know.
Oh, that's true.
There's a lot of questions. We just kind of wait and see. But we know that they're recording. Like, they're recording the lines and everything. So, like, it's happening. It is in production. I think is next year. Would they say they're aiming to get it out?
Do you think the Sonic movie had any sway on that? Because that Sonic the Hedgehog movie, it wasn't high art. It was a kid's movie. Mm-hmm. I liked it, but I'm a big dumb kid, so, I mean, I'm looking forward to the sequel. I think the sequel's gonna be fun and dumb, too. I do think that for all the problems that the Sonic the Hedgehog movie may have had, it still did it pretty well for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, live-action movie.
Yeah.
I cannot get into it. I did not like that movie. We don't have time to hear me ranting about it.
I mean, that's really where it is. It's just like, I liked it, you didn't. It's like, yeah, no, I understand why you didn't. I've heard people say, like, I don't even have a very good defense for it, to be honest. It's a really dumb, safe kind of kids movie. Mm-hmm. It's about it. Really, it's not high art.
Yeah.
I am really sick of origin stories as a concept, though. It feels like everyone's trying to set up, like, oh, we need this movie to be a trilogy. Like, movies are coming in, and it's not because, oh, we want to make a movie. It's more about the business side of, oh, well, this needs to have a trilogy, and then it needs to have a spinoff, and then it needs to have we need to set up the greater universe, and, we need to make it feed all of our properties into other properties so that we become like another Marvel multimedia property.
Establishing a franchise is more important than just making a movie.
Yeah, so I think that honestly, pretty much anything that comes out that's from an established property, I'm already a little bit on edge around it, just because I know it's not really what I want anymore. Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I ever really wanted it, to be honest. It was kind of a cool idea when Marvel started doing that. But I recall seeing Iron Man 2 and being like, this is boring. I don't care about these other characters. I want to watch Iron Man. I want to see Iron Man punch stuff. And then in retrospect, Iron Man 2 is like, okay, they're setting up a lot of the Avengers stuff, and that's kind of cool. But at the time, I was like, no, I just want this thing. I don't care about don't give me promises. Give it to me right here in front of me.
Okay, quick. I know we're trying to maybe transition to the next thing, but before we do, quick roundtable. Mm-hmm. If they are trying to set up like a greater Nintendo verse with the Mario movie, with their Avengers movie, would probably be like some sort of Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
What do you think the post-credits sequence will be at the end of this Mario movie?
Oh man, There are problems with the idea of trying to do that, but there's also part of me that wishes they would do that. I don't think they are, though. I think it might have an origin thing just to give it some story, but I don't think they're gonna I don't think they'll make a sequel or anything. But if they do, that's a really good question.
Hold on. If they do, it'll be like a Mario star, but then it'll turn into a Kirby star.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kirby. Well, Kirby walks onto the scene and eats something or something,
I'm going to say there's no way it's going to be Kirby because isn't Kirby partially owned by HAL?
I think
HAL still around?
I think they're a Nintendo. I think it's fully Nintendo.
Oh, okay. So it's fully. Oh, yeah, it's fully incorporated. Okay, never mind.
I think for a hot minute, maybe, but no, Kirby is 100% Nintendo now, right?
But what if it's like a Mario star and it goes up into the sky and it becomes a shooting star and we see it up in the sky and then the camera pans down. And it's Samus, and she punches a mother brain, and she's like, yeah! And it's like in space.
I would die.
The reason I went with Kirby, it was like,
I would literally die.
Because are they gonna go? Because then you have the problem of like, okay, you have Kid Icarus, you have Metroid, you have Pokemon. These are all like very wildly different kind of tones of games, and so I just thought like, Mario and Kirby are the two that seem to kind of mesh the best.
I guess Kirby also has a history of having like, and I remember watching the anime or the TV show on like Saturday morning.
Right back at you.
Yeah, like it's it's been around, at least in America, that we.
Wait, we should probably let Arlo answer this question.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah,
it's this their podcast.
Well, I just see
Sorry.
simple. I just see like, you know, maybe some bad guy gets away at the end or something. Ha. Then Kirby comes on and eats him. Just like some simple little like winky like Kirby thing, just to kind of suggest that there could be more. Yeah.
Or they all fall asleep and then Wart shows up.
There's no way Waluigi's going to be in this movie.
No.
Man.
Which is
It's a shame.
Sorry, this is my like little grumpy vibe coming in. I'm a huge Waluigi stan, and I'm like preemptively mad about Waluigi not being in this movie.
They haven't even like announced anything. You're just
I know literally nothing. For all I know, Spike is Waluigi.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Unfortunately, we do have to move it along, and we'll have to actually. Well, I got to do the thing. It's time for listener questions.
Yay!
We'll have to try to answer these pretty darn quick here. I'm almost out of time.
Okay.
First question. New asks, has there ever been a game... I picked this one specifically for you guys. Has there ever been a game you feel like you'd have a better experience playing with a different console's controller? Just like something you wish you were using a different controller. I'm sure you have a funny answer for this one.
I don't know if it's funny, but like I remember playing Metroid Prime Trilogy on Wii and being like, wow, this controls so much better. And I'd never really been able to go back. I think a lot of the like early first-person shooters... it is hilarious to me that they just did not nail what is now like the standard controls for it.
Mm-hmm.
The dual analog stick.
Yeah, the dual analog, and then, you know, left is move and right is, you know, look and stuff like that. When Perfect Dark got re-released on Xbox Live, and being able to play that on like a proper Xbox controller with like, you know, Halo, Call of Duty style controls. Oh, it was amazing.
For me, and this is kind of like part of a video we're working on currently. Right now, I've been playing a lot of games with the Tony Hawk Ride skateboard controller.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so, it's such a frustrating device because it's so good, but it's so terrible at the same time. But as a part of that video, I also was checking out other games, like I guess the closest analog would be, you know, the skateboarding games that used the balance board for the Wii. Mm-hmm. And just playing these games on the balance board, I was just sitting there thinking like, man, I wish I could just take my Ride controller and just like plug it in and just play with that instead. Because the balance board just isn't, it's not like, it's just a scale.
There's not much. Yeah, it's just a scale that can.
It's just like a flat.
Has
like
X and Y coordinates. That's about it.
It's not really tactile.
It's such a utilitarian device, you know.
Doesn't give you that feedback.
Yeah, it doesn't give you that feedback. You can't really move around on it as much, like with the board, because it's curved like a skate deck. You can kind of like
it tells you
swish it around.
It'll like yell at you if you jump.
Oh yeah.
I was playing one game and I was like, just instinctively, I was like trying to jump because it's a skateboard game, and it actually like paused and said, "Bro, stop jumping." Sorry, skate it for the Wii. Yeah, no fun allowed.
Skate it for the Wii. Come on. But yeah, that's my thing right now, is just kind of staring longingly at the Tony Hawk Ride board.
I want to say,
I could use it
as
for
an
everything.
aside for everybody that's listening, Tony Hawk Ride is a bad game. Tony Hawk Shred is actually like kind of good. And no one told me that. I had no idea this.
You're hearing it here first, folks.
Yeah, this is the video we're working on right now.
That's funny. That's good. I look forward to that. My answer is kind of a cheat answer. I don't have like a good like specific thing. It's really just any PlayStation controller. I hate having the analog stick lower. I can't run straight. I can't point straight up. My thumbs don't work that way, and it's just different from every controller I've ever used. So anytime I'm playing a PS4 game, I just wish that stick. I wish I was playing any different controller. I really do not like the PlayStation controllers. It
is really weird. I noticed that when I switch between a PlayStation to like Xbox or to Switch, I always have a weird period where my hand gets sore just because I'm not used to. It's like my muscles learned how to be offset or how to be straight on the PlayStation controller, and then when I have to change between them, I always have like this weird like arthritic response.
Yeah, I have a similar thing, but
it's because I'm old.
Yeah, whenever I switch, I just get good.
Well,
Yeah, I should try that. Yeah, we should try that.
You tried that? You
Yeah.
tried that?
yeah. Have you tried getting the boss's HP down to 0? That's the number one tip I would give you.
All right, next question. Nevik Green, this is definitely one we'll have to try not to go too long because we could talk all day about this kind of stuff. Nevik Green asks, as an online creator, what's the best way to promote your work? Is posting around Reddit really the only way to be seen, or is there an obvious choice of action to do instead? I'll start, at least from a YouTube perspective. I never did any promoting or marketing or anything. And I think a lot of people on Reddit especially are kind of wary of people posting their own stuff. It really, and I just like marketing is a thing in general that's kind of like, you don't want to be putting too much energy into marketing because you don't even necessarily know if your product is viable. The most important thing is to have something that people want. So like with YouTube, the algorithm totally stinks, but it's kind of what you got to use. You kind of just got to focus on making good stuff and it will just naturally get around if it's good and it resonates with people. So yeah, I guess that's my answer. It's just kind of like, I never promoted anything. I mean, I have a Twitter, but people still have to like go to my Twitter because they like me and they want to see my Twitter. I never really did anything.
I think that's so important that it not only has to be good, it also has to resonate, which is such a hard lesson. Like because this happens to us all the time. Like we recently put out a video that I think is really good, but the topic might not have been like the best choice for the concept of the video.
Turns out people aren't as excited about Blaster Master as I am.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, first off, I've never used Reddit to promote. I'm not quite sure if that is if the kids today think that is what you need to do. I have no data to back that up, so I would say don't use Reddit. We use Twitter, but I've seen in real time when like we, put a video out and then we wait a little bit and then we put the tweet out that promotes the video. And I see in real time how the numbers do jump very slightly. So Twitter has been good for us to get the video out, but nothing beats the, as Arlo was saying, like, yeah, the algorithm is really the thing you have to figure out.
And honestly, the biggest promotional opportunity that you have on YouTube is just the thumbnail.
Yes.
And
and the title.
It sucks because it is so hard to like figure out a thumbnail and figure out something that sticks out but also doesn't stick out in a bad way.
Yeah.
on YouTube. It's tough.
Whenever I would read about like, man, how to get on YouTube, how to get popular, it was always sort of these more broad tips. So it's like, you got to have this tag, and you got to do this time, and you have to have this type of, it just, and then whenever we did that, it just never worked for us. And so basically you just need to think of it like, make a product that people want and are excited about. And so just do
something that is different that they can't get somewhere else.
Yeah, or with a personality or an angle or a spin that like you can bring something new to, and then just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. And you just, again, you gotta be able to take your hits really hard, put your heart and soul into a video, watch it bomb, watch 300 people go, cool, and then it's done. And then pick yourself up and do it again.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it doesn't even matter how good your stuff is. I mean, like, sometimes people can slowly get a following, but one of the best ways, I'd say most YouTubers, they got their start with, like, one thing that really took off. And it's like, it doesn't even matter how good, say you're doing the most in-depth, awesome reviews in the entire world, you got to have that thing that grabs people. It doesn't matter how good something is if people aren't seeing it, if it doesn't attract them in some way. So yeah, it's really just like, keep working at the YouTube thing until you get that thing and you just had the right combination of the thumbnail and the title and it grabbed enough people. And then the more people that see that and like you, they will then enjoy your other content, and you can do other kinds of content that aren't all grabby like that because you have an established audience.
And I almost think YouTube was kind of constructed or was slowly turned into that so that YouTube itself could control what is popular on its format.
Yeah.
Or rather on its platform.
Yeah.
So like you cannot game that. It's almost to the point like numbers don't even really matter. Like subscription numbers and comments and thumbs and stuff. It's like, because you can people could game those. And I think that YouTube turned into a thing that tried to be more bulletproof. So also the algorithm, it's not fair. It makes no sense sometimes. And, but it's just listen to your audience. If anybody can be a YouTuber, just make YouTube videos. To be a successful one, that's the tricky part. But like, if you have an audience that can support you, like we only have, a couple hundred, 1,000 people on Patreon, but that's all we need to keep our lights on, keep food in the fridge. You don't need to get that PewDiePie Markiplier money. You just got to think about what are like the 10,000, 1,000 people that are like ride or die.
Yeah.
And so once you find that audience, try and grow that audience, but also make sure you are satisfying that audience, giving them what they want.
Yeah.
And they will and if you do that, and I don't know, I'm 14 years now and people still watch my junk. So,
though I would say you should never get into YouTube because you think you're going to make money at it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to start as something you just like
exactly.
doing.
It was a hobby for me for about,
10 years.
10 of those years. Yeah.
Well, final question comes from Richie Sherman. The question is, what is your least favorite chore to do around the house? What about you? What about
Laundry.
you guys? Laundry?
Hands down. Yeah, folding clothes. I have nightmares where it's like some kind of stress dream, but it always ends with, and then I come home to my apartment and the entire apartment is full of clothes I need to fold.
I just don't fold them. I just throw them in. That's my secret.
Ugh, that is a good secret.
I wouldn't mind, but I hate when my t-shirts get wrinkly.
Mm.
It's almost like, what was the point? What was the point?
Yeah.
I am so bad with mail, especially if it's like, okay, this is like a bank thing or like a doctor thing, so I can't throw it out. I need to put it into like a file or something like that. I always wait until it's like this massive lump of mail that I just, like a laundry pile of mail. I'm like, all right, rip all this up. And most of it is like junk that needs to be recycled anyway.
Yeah, mail, it does pile up, doesn't it? My answer, it's dishes. I love food. I love to cook. But it's like, it's so easy to just make a dish that you have. Oh, I need to pour this in here. And like, that's the whole thing you got to wash. And I'm already tired from all the cooking. And then the dishes, they just pile up so fast, so constantly. It's oppressive. I hate dishes.
Yeah.
Even with a dishwasher. Even then, you still got to soak them and get the food off. And it's just a thing. I want to just enjoy my food.
Yeah, right.
I feel like I'm not a bougie kind of guy. But I don't know that I can ever go back to not having a dishwasher. Hand washing and hand drying things. I've done it for many years of my life, and thankfully the last few apartments I've lived in now have had dishwashers. That's, to me, I'm living a good life if I am near a dishwasher.
Mm-hmm. No, doing it by hand is terrible.
I mean, I can hand wash certain things, like if we're all like at a Airbnb or something like that. I can do it occasionally, but if that's an everyday thing, I did my time. That's like I worked manual labor jobs in my teens, right?
Yeah, you put in the time, you earned it.
Yeah, exactly. I've done it. Never again. All
right. Well, time for our last couple segments. We only got a few minutes here. First one is, what you been playing? What have you guys been playing recently? Just like for whatever. Work, fun, whatever.
Oh, yeah. I recently started playing Boyfriend Dungeon.
Nice.
Which I think just came out and is a kind of like roguelike dungeon crawler with some dating elements. And it's fun.
It's like you can date your weapons.
It's basically, I guess what I would say about it overall is that if you really, really liked Hades and you're kind of like feel like you could still dip your toe into a Hades, a game that's similar to Hades, that I would totally recommend it. It's pretty good.
Good, nice.
It's cute.
What about you, Derek?
I was playing. We did some traveling recently, and I was playing a lot of Monster Hunter Rise.
Yeah,
which is great for travel. And then I don't know what happened. Something a bug must have snuck into the apartment and bit me, and now I fell back into Gears of War.
Really?
I'm playing Gears 5. I love Gears of War. Specifically, I love the Horde mode. Competitive Gears is like on another level that like I'm just, oh my god, the rolling and the shotguns. I respect it. Can't do it. But like Gears 5, Horde mode, it's so deep. There's so much to it. It's so fun. It is. You can play on like a super hard difficulty when you want to get all sweaty and you want to try really hard, or you can just go on easy mode. And I have a character that like my special is basically I have an aimbot, and this when my special gets filled up, I just hit Y, and I literally can hit headshots from across the map without even aiming. It's just it really sometimes for work, we play lots of dumb and fun and stupid stuff. But when I'm clock off, I need to kind of like my brain needs to kind of relax, and so I don't just play dumb Doom ports and weird GBA games all the time. I gotta clock off sometimes.
You play some real hardcore video games sometimes.
Yeah.
That's good. My answer, I got an early code for Kitaria Fables, and I'm having a good amount of fun with it. It's like, there's like Stardew Valley, like farming elements, like imagine Stardew Valley, but it's like way more on the going out and adventuring and killing stuff side, but then the farm stuff is kind of supplementary. Cats, a world with like cats and dogs and stuff. It's fun.
Do you date the cats?
I do. At least so far, I have not come upon any dating things yet. No.
Aww. Oh, it looks so cute.
Grace loves dating stuff.
Not that I'm obsessed with dating, but
no, but you like games where you can date people and like I want to buy them gifts and be nice to them. Like,
yeah, I guess that's my fantasy. Is
I want to marry everyone.
Wouldn't it be nice if all relationships, including friendships, were just like as easy as, oh, here's here's some ice cream, enjoy, and then
here's
their little bar
cheese.
fills up. You're like, yeah.
I've been giving you cheese once a day for the last 2 months.
All right.
Yes.
Nope.
I'm glad you're enjoying it though. It's going out and adventuring in like Stardew Valley is always really fun, but I find myself getting caught up on the farming usually. That's where I get hooked.
Yeah.
But you played Stardew Valley for a while, and you kind of had to stop yourself because you were like entering.
Well,
like,
I maxed out my relationships
is that
for
what it was?
everybody,
Oh,
so
okay.
I kind of fell out of it.
Like, I mean, you could do another year of farming. I've married everybody, so
Yeah.
All right, final segment of the show. What you been eating? You have any good meals recently? What you been enjoying recently?
Oh wow!
You should go first. Like, what dish has been dirtying your sink lately?
I'm getting embarrassed. I'm embarrassing myself by being honest here because I'm still just eating a bunch of junk food, and I need to be like, oh, I made creme brulee last night. No, my thing this week has been Trader Joe's has these like Carolina barbecue chips. And they're like barbecue, but like with a little more like tang to them, and they are incredible. Then my tongue is all cut up from just eating too many potato chips. And then I also remembered that root beer floats exist this week, so I've been doing that as well. I also Trader Joe's. They got the best ice cream and they got the best root beer, and root beer floats are super incredibly good. And that's what I've been having is potato chips and root beer floats.
The two food groups.
Yeah, exactly. What about you?
This year for me has been a gluten-free year.
Oh,
I found out I had a gluten allergy this whole time.
Oh, I think I heard that.
Yeah. Derek has a celiac disease.
I got celiac
you got
disease.
Full celiac. Wow, I know a lot of people who are intolerant, but celiac, that's rough.
Yep. And I also have a hiatal hernia, and I got like a little
but
buffet.
It's getting better.
Yeah, it's like that. So honestly, I was like, yeah, going gluten free is like, oh man, I can't eat bread, no more pasta ever again, and kind of going on this gluten free journey. Maybe now is a good time to decide to do this. To realize for the last 36 years, I had I had a disease that I wasn't even aware of. But we were talking about Trader Joe's. This is not an ad, but I gotta say that Trader Joe's,
I love Trader Joe's.
Their bagels. Trader Joe's gluten-free situation for like bagels, and muffins and stuff. Holy man, they're gluten-free bagels at Trader Joe's are like the best.
Yeah, my friend swears by them. Yeah.
There's also like a pack you can get of just like cinnamony muffins that they are absolutely delicious. However, if you eat these gluten-free muffins from Trader Joe's, you'll notice that like they're not the texture is a little off in that like they're just kind of light. And without that wheat, without that gluten to really, you realize that normal bread has a little more, is like stronger. It's more dense.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the issue I'm having with a lot of like gluten-free bread, is that like it's just kind of like it's there, but there's not a lot of texture, there's not a lot of flavor. But I don't know what they're doing at the Trader Joe's, but they've somehow cracked the case, because their gluten-free stuff is fantastic, and my stomach has been feeling great.
It's like a great mix of like affordability and genuinely good.
Oh yeah,
Which gluten-free stuff's very expensive.
It is like what, 4 or 5 bagels is like $5, $4. It is a little expensive than a normal like, set of bagels.
I really need to get on to making gluten-free bread so we can save a couple of dollars.
It's
but
hard.
It was sort of,
my friend did it a lot, and I don't think ever really got there. Pretty much just went straight to like Franz is a good brand for gluten-free bread. It's funny seeing how like 10 years ago it was a big thing, but like just seeing how over the years the companies have like literally just like R&D, how do we make better gluten-free stuff, and it has improved like year on year, always like better and better stuff. It's been like a long journey for them because it's so tricky to make good gluten-free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say I'm also lactose intolerant, and for a while I was on almond. Never really liked soy milk. It's good in coffee, I suppose. Oat milk, number 1. With a bullet. That's for me, for like cereal and for coffee, like
Yep, hot take.
Hot, yeah, all right. Unsubscribe, cancel if you want. Sorry to trigger you. I like oat milk.
Yep.
I like almond milk. I like the flavor, but Kane, my editor, he swears by oat milk. He loves it. Yeah, it's sad you're lactose intolerant, because I was gonna say TJ's also has a really good mac and cheese I've been enjoying.
I used to eat, actually they had pepperoni pizza mac and cheese. I used to love that, but like it's now almost everything about that is bad for my body.
Yeah.
But that's more for everybody else. That means there's one more package of mac and cheese at the Trader Joe's. I swear this is not an ad.
It could be Trader Joe's. If you're listening, I will absolutely, absolutely love Trader Joe's. Those Carolina chips, my gosh, they're incredible. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a nice, big, meaty episode. We had lots to talk about. I had a lot of fun. Did you have a lot of fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us on.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yes. Where can we find you? What do you do?
Man, we're on. We are. Hi, my name is Derek. We do Stop Skeletons and Fighting. No, we are.
And if you Google "Stop Skeletons from Fighting," don't worry, we are the only Stop Skeletons from Fighting. So
yeah, that's some good SEO right there. I gotta say, nobody's confusing this for anything else. They will find you.
Yeah, they will find us.
Unfortunately, my name is Derek Alexander, and there's like it's like leather handbags. There's another Derek Alexander that is a little more popular than me. So unfortunately, don't Google Derek Alexander. You'll find leather handbags. Yeah. Unless you want to find, or if you're looking for him.
You're looking for a leather handbag. Yeah, I mean, sure.
I don't know if it's, I no idea if it's good or not. Really, we should reach out to them and be like, hey, one Derek to another. But no, yeah, we're on YouTube, and we're on Twitter. We have a Patreon, and really the show's been able to really exist for as long as it has because of our Patreon supporters.
Oh, we should mention, we also have a podcast that started as a Patreon podcast that we opened up to the public as, during the pandemic, just because, we all could use a little bit more community, a little bit more time, spent not maybe like relaxing your brain from all the stuff going on. But it's called Stop Skeletons from Podcasting. We should... It's kind of like a little bit of a secret. We don't really promote it that much. We should promote it.
You should. Yeah. I would love to be on.
Yeah, we can do that.
And you know what? We cuss on our podcast. So if you want to hear Arlo,
I just go nuts.
Yeah.
The second I step away from my channel or my podcast, just like a sailor.
Let's do it. All swearing all the time. We'd love to have you on.
Yeah, it would be fun. Well, all right. It's been fun. Wave to the imaginary camera and say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.
Stay safe.
Grace, you got to get in on this.
Bye.
Bye. That is it. We are done. We did it. The big 1-0, episode 10. We did it, and we're done. No more podcast. We're canceling it. That's all we wanted to do. Just kidding. We'll be back next week. One final thanks to our guests, Derek and Grace from Stop Skeletons from Fighting. Please be sure to follow @Arlocast on Twitter for updates and to submit questions and all that good stuff. This episode was edited and produced by Chris Jones. All the music you have been enjoying was created by Northman. The Arlocast logo was created by Mario Castañeda. Links to all socials, channels, etc. for all guests and artists, along with an address for business inquiries, can be found in the show notes. As with all things I do, I am supported in part by my Patreon patrons, so an extra special thank you to them. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Arlocast.
Have a good one.
Bye. I'll miss you.